Hi, I'm Mike McCormick at the GBTA broadcast studio. I'm pleased to welcome Chris Bowen at Carlson Wagonlit Travel. Chris, thanks for being here today.
Hello, Mike.
So you're relatively new to the travel industry, and what do you think of this travel industry versus the electronics industry,
Consumer
right?
electronics, that's
Consumer
right,
electronics
yeah.
before here?
Well, the first thing to say is what an exciting industry, right?
Right.
I mean, most people in the world love travel in some format. And what an exciting time to join, because there's so much change going on, and technology, and thanks to my background, I understand a little bit about that, is really accelerating that pace of change. So great industry, really exciting times, and some really interesting side topics as well. Donald Trump last week, Brexit back in June, there's an awful lot happening. In terms of my first sort of experiences of coming in, I think one of the first things you notice is how complex the industry is.
Right.
And also how much more we've got to do to really bring to life a consumer type experience. What we get in our everyday lives is what people expect when they're doing their business travel, and we have a little way to go yet on that.
Well, yeah, there's been a real convergence of those topics, right? Everything from personalization, mobility, and duty of care.
Yeah.
Certainly those are the three topics that are on every buyer's mind.
Absolutely.
So what should we expect from CWT in the coming next year and next couple of years?
Digitization, and certainly, I think one of the big topics that's been spoken about probably for a couple of years now is big data.
Right.
And you probably know this, but if you type big data into a search engine, what comes up is big data dangerous, right?
Right.
That's the autofill.
Right.
And that probably speaks volumes about what big data means. And if you think about travel industry, there is such a huge amount of data. Millions of people traveling all the time. It's just providing information overload. The key to it is how do you untap that information to make it usable for a corporation? And I think we've done that. I think we achieved that with CWT Analytics last year, that took all that information and turned it into real-time data. So within 30 minutes of any booking being made, a travel manager is able to access that information.
Right.
And what that means is it takes it from being a reactive program to a proactive program.
Right. So that's a bit about the opportunity. What are the challenges that you're facing as CWT, and even put yourself in the mind of the buyer?
Yeah.
What are the challenges you're seeing in the next year or so?
Several at the moment.
Yeah.
Really. At a more local and parochial level, I guess Brexit is a pretty big challenge, although nothing's really happened yet. Article 50 hasn't been served, but there's a lot of talk. So that's certainly in the back of the mind, and something we're very much aware of. I think other challenges are mobile is becoming bigger and bigger topic, and I think part of the reason for that is the growing percentage of millennials within the travel industry.
Right.
We've been talking, since I've been on board for just over 2 years, we've been talking about millennials. But today, it's almost 20% of our travelers are now millennials. And that's starting to make a groundswell change. A shift in what the traveller wants. And these guys and girls are coming in with mobile as their go-to tool for everything in their personal lives, in their consumer lives. And so mobile, I think, is an interesting challenge for us all to get our heads around, and clearly a big focus for us at CWT, because we bought CWT to go, as you know, back in 2013.
Right.
And we can continue to evolve that program, in fact, with upgrades every 10 weeks.
So any words of advice for the buyer in the coming months and year here as we head into 2017?
I think expect more in terms of digitization and more from probably the traveller wanting to have more say and input. And again, the point about millennials becoming a greater percentage of the population, these people are used to doing things themselves and having more control.
Right.
And I think that will be an interesting challenge as we move forward.
Well, thank you, Chris. Thank you for coming today. Chris Bowen here from CWT in the GBTA broadcast studio.
Thanks, Mike.